Okay, let's try this again. Can't remember which game we were playing. This is the one. Okay, so this is Tribesman on Savage, Permadeath. We did a part 1 video. This is part 2. We're just going to look at this map real quick to kind of see where we stand. Kind of see it's 5-6 years in. This is where the prisoners are. We've got a recent prisoner. Everybody was just coming back from a Caravan mission. That's why they're over here. We'll get a little bit closer look at the base. You can kind of see we've got turrets, you know, on the outside, surrounding everything all the way around. Some mortars right here. Big hospital. Sterile research room. Barn. Some kind of extra power. Extra main power. And then I've got 2 geothermals at each corner. And then this is kind of your kill box area, which when we get to the videos you'll see. And then you can kind of see the mining is all outside of the base, these little areas. This one here. Okay. That's a good overview of the base, I think. I don't know why this is all expanded out. Anyway. Now let's go look at the highlights. Basically, this is just going to be a look at how we got to this point where we stand right here. Okay, let's look at the video. Okay. So you can kind of see we had, at this point here, we had a few wooden traps. And you got like the crazy bear invasion. And it just kind of shows you can kind of see we don't have all of our turrets that we just showed yet. This is a good example of how you want these bears to come in kind of one at a time. And now here what we did was we sent a caravan down to this town, and we're taking this extra bear meat, and we're sending the bear meat, and we're also sending the items that they wanted to fulfill a trade request in the pod. And what that did was it allowed the caravan to travel a lot faster and take more stuff. It's just a tip. Use those pods to send the gear, and then a lot of your guys can travel faster. And then just take that extra meat from all those dead bears, and you can boost your faction ratings here. Make them your allies. It's a pretty effective way to get rid of all the kind of useless resources that you can't use. This is kind of that technique, just using the EMPs, kind of keeping your guy out of the way, keeping the enemy focused on these turrets down here, keeping all your characters pretty much well out of the line of fire. You can kind of see I've got my animals wandering around here. It's kind of a mistake. You shouldn't want to zone them out. It's the way I like to do it. You can kind of see, even though you don't have all the traps up, it doesn't matter if you can get them in the right spot. can kind of see there, they wanted to shoot at the MP guy, so I focused all their attention on that enemy. And you can always, if you have to, you can move the MP guy out of the way. You can send 2, just in case one of them gets hit or something. Always try to check how your characters are injured to see what the priority is. See if you need to get them healed up right away, or if they can make it till the end of the fight. You gotta be careful as the difficulty goes up, because the injuries tend to be more severe. And that's kind of the purpose of these videos, is just to illustrate what Savage difficulty looks like in the late game. You know, this is all vanilla, no cheats. This character right here is my only death so far. Okay, so here you can see we had just a few traps built, but we have a lot of elephants coming. And, you know, if you don't have any kind of defenses set up, they'll just, you know, trample over a whole bunch of your characters. It might not kill them, but you'll have a whole bunch of characters, you know, down for a while. And you can kind of see at this point here, we waited a little too long to start kiting everyone. We should have started probably a little bit sooner, but it ends up not being a big deal. Basically, you just kite everyone out of the way and make sure you're pulling back and not putting people in the line of fire of your turrets as much as you can. And they're going for your characters because they're manhunters, and that's why they wouldn't go for the turrets directly. You can kind of see that character Tamara, she doesn't fight, so she's just there to like carry somebody off or put a fire out, something like that. And there's your melee guy. I should have sent him in sooner. And we handled them. So here what I'm doing is, we have all that elephant meat now. So I'm just sending the excess before it spoils. You have a few days to anyone that I'm not allied with. Super easy way to just boost it up. It's something that just will make the harder difficulties easier when you're allied with these other factions as much as you can. And it's like excess wealth that you can't really utilize. This is cool. I've never used one of these orbital bombardment devices, and I get a chance right here. I had one, I wanted to use it for one of the faction missions, and what I'm finding here is, see, you have to have a direct, it has a good range, but you have to have direct view, so I'm blocked by the rock there from using it. So I'm trying to decide here what's the best spot to use it. And you can kind of see I have my other characters already set up for any attackers who don't get eliminated by it. The downfall is, you know, anything in the base, you're not going to get any loot. And there's probably, it's pretty unlikely you're going to have survivors too. Yeah, but it's a cool item. And we just got money for that quest, but I've wanted to try one of those out. And it's good when you're overgunned, you're outgunned. I think at this point I probably wasn't, but here I'm just checking to see if I want to take any of these survivors, but I don't like to take pyromaniacs typically. It's one of the negative traits I tend to avoid. Every now and then I'll take them. They're only bad if they break, really. So if they have other qualities that make them less likely to break, you could still take them. So this one here, we're trying to get some good items, and you know it's going to be an ambush because they're good items. The question is, is it's savage difficulty. How many people are we bringing with us, and how savage is the enemy resistance going to be? And here I've found that a lot of these ambushes tend to be man-eating animals. And it looks like here there's like 7 or 8 panthers, but it's a great map because it's a swamp with all these trees and debris, so everything moves really slowly. So basically you just you're gonna get a lot of shots as they move towards you, and I always try on these maps to keep everybody grouped together. Isolated characters tend not to fare very well. Here you can kind of see my own character, my own guys shot Mitch because I didn't keep everyone together. So, that was on me. Just not having people in a good line. I think this one I was surprised I didn't get more resistance. I think the other thing to look for is you can kind of see, your best shooters have your best guns, but you do need to have different types of weapons with different ranges to be effective against, all the different enemy types, and you don't really know what you're going to come up against. I like to have, let's say 2 people with an assault rifle, 2 people with a sniper rifle. The bolt action rifles are really accurate. So while those guys were fighting panthers out in the field, they sent a panther a whole bunch of them at my base. And we had just replenished the traps, so it wasn't a big deal. We didn't probably even need to send any troops, because now at this point we've got even more turrets. And this is actually, this right here is like a second wave. Oh, actually, no, this is this is an editing mistake. It's not a second wave. But yeah, it's a bunch of dead panthers. And then here you can kind of see you got the infestation in the mine. And this is why you don't mine inside your base on the hard difficulty, because these guys will just crush your stuff. You need to have, you know, multiple people firing at them. They can take a lot of bullets. You want to have them, like in this case, attacking turrets and not people, because they take limbs off. If you lose a turret, no big deal. You can kind of see everybody's focus just on those targets. That's how you want it. Here we had another one. Got another infestation. And you just bring everybody inside the base, and they will come to you, typically. Every now and then you have to go outside and take a pot shot to get them to attack. Usually, though, they will just break out of that room and try to get in directly through your kill box area. You can kind of see it's still dirty up here from the last attack that we just saw. They move a little slower because a couple of them are injured. It's actually kind of a good thing. You can kind of see the traps slow down the fastest approaching enemies first. We didn't even need to fight them. So here you have Caravan, and just trying to protect things, and it's always about just very quickly placing everyone in the best cover situation that you can get them in. You don't want to break them apart, space them out too much. You want to make sure you're in good solid cover spots from all angles. Kind of limited here in this one. You want to take out their melee attackers first. See how, just try to stay in cover, take out the melee attackers or the gunners that have to get real close. Those are the best to see. He's out in the open for so much time there, and now, you know, once he was in cover, he becomes not quite as good a target, but he had already had so much damage done to him. And it's really about, you just see, like, this is a good one. They don't want to run across that pond because it takes so long. So we're in a good spot here. Crane gets hit because he wasn't in perfect cover. But it ends up being no big deal. And now I'm deciding, do I want to try to leave any of these people alive for capture? And I mean, obviously this is an easy one. Shows you the balancing is fair. Even when you're playing on Savage, that's a very I think these guys had a whole bunch of encounters, but that's, you know, you should be able to dominate them. And here we take her prisoner. And this is a cool feature because even though she's injured, we just take what we want. She's injured. Mitch is a healer, so he heals her wounds. And now you can see in this one, another encounter, but she's lying on the ground there. She's not going anywhere. But she's not bleeding out either. And even if she was, at the end of this fight, Mitch would, you know, fix anything left that she still had going on. And you can kind of see we're just trying to get the melee attackers first, because they're out of cover, so they're easier to hit. And also, once the melee attacker gets close, they will tie up the shooter. So you want to get those melee attackers. So here's a cool one. Basically, this is just where this is one of those situations where this is how the best way to use your mortars. You know, fire off 5 or 10. Basically, just takes one hit. Right here, we get 2 hits in a row, and that makes everybody want to come to us. You're going to be able to take all that loot. And everybody else will try to come through your traps now. Usually you'll be able to hit them before they get their mortars built or shortly thereafter. I don't like to let the enemy start fires in my base with the mortars if I can avoid it, so some people will let that happen. You can kind of see a couple other guys just took drugs, so they're running really fast, moving really fast. I was deciding if I was going to send Mitch out to, like, arrest him as a prisoner. And then at this point, you turn the mortars off. You can see I had 2 mortars shooting, 2 or 3. And here I was thinking I could take, this is kind of a waste of time. You really don't need or want to do this. I picked him off real quick, but you can kind of see that guy's speedy. He starts to come down, and what that does is now he's, you know, not headed through those traps, and it's really easier for everybody to go through the traps. You don't want him to get... You can use this technique to kind of spread out the enemies a little, so now you have less people coming. If you're overwhelmed in your traps, you can, you know, take pot shots with guys and they'll, you know, keep them by the door like that. But here we had a lot of traps built, and they're not going to make it very far. And see, that's why I'm already thinking, oh, let's bring up these guys so that we can kill as many of them as possible. In my trap section there, most of it is got a roof. What that does is it makes so that the weapons that they drop and the items deteriorate not as quickly, so you have more time to pick them up. That is the end of the video. Hope that helps with some tips. I've been having fun with this playthrough. I'm going to keep going with it. Hopefully I'll add another video of these tribesmen in not too long. Thanks for watching.